The month of July wheeled in some bad news in the automotive world pertaining to two iconic cars. Firstly, the Volkswagen Beetle is going out of production again. I know there are drivers to this day that still passionately subscribe to the vehicular version of Beatlemania, although I can't say I was ever much of a fan, whether it was the outgoing new Beetle or the long-gone Beetle Classic. I think perhaps the idea of a car having a flower holder embedded in the dashboard is a bit of a deal killer for me. And I've always found it downright weird that a people's car that was championed by Hitler in the 1930s would go on to become the unofficial vehicle of the peace and love hippie generation in the 1960s and early 70s, alongside the VW camper. Like I said, weird, man. But personal preferences aside, what really squashed the bug was the ongoing and inexplicable trend of people having a burning desire to drive way more vehicle than what they actually need, be it trucks, SUVs, or crossovers. Driven more by marketing than an actual needs-based analysis, too many drivers continue to clamor for supersized rides, even if they aren't hauling anything or they happen to be the sole occupant. So as a small two-door coupe, a car like the Beetle is terribly out of fashion these days. But even worse news on the automotive front is the recent news regarding the Chevrolet Corvette. No, GM isn't sending the Vette to the scrap heap of obsolescence. Rather, the next generation Corvette will not be available with a manual transmission. Oh, et tu, Stingray? This is nothing short of heresy for any vehicle claiming to be a sports car. Oh, and please spare me any lectures about how today's automatic transmissions are vastly improved from the slush boxes of the past, and that in many cases you can always get paddle shifters on the steering wheel. It's just not the same. Because what these apologists fail to address is the sheer fun factor of driving with a stick shift. With a manual tranny, the human driver becomes an integral component of the car, man and machine functioning in symbiotic harmony, clutch, shift, gas, and repeat. I have little doubt that those who snub the manual transmission and are ambivalent to its demise are surely the same people clamoring for the future abomination that will be the self-driving car. And as I lamented in this space many moons ago when Audi announced it will no longer be producing cars with manual transmissions, there is another compelling reason to buy stick. You're essentially making your car theft-proof, especially when it comes to the young Lugans out there. Indeed, check out this feel-good story from a few years ago.
3 teens tried to steal an elderly woman's car in Seattle on Saturday, but there was a problem. None of them knew how to drive it. Lindsay Sheldon spoke with a victim who can laugh about the whole thing now.
And he says, I want your car keys.
70-year-old Nancy Fredrickson was grabbing something from the trunk of her car when suddenly she saw a gun inches from her face.
You turn around and here's this big gun right here, right here.
She dropped her keys and says 3 teens jumped into her Kia. The only problem was none of them knew how to drive a stick shift.
I got 5-speed in there. And they couldn't figure out how to get it going.
So Fredrickson just stood there as they tried and failed. It's hilarious to her neighbors.
Yeah, they can't drive a stick? That's like unmanly.
But alas, there are fewer and fewer vehicles that are available with a stick shift, something I blame on the ascension of the smartphone. After all, who's got the wherewithal to shift when one has to multitask? Which leads me to say, yet again, put down the damn phone and drive already. It's bad enough you people, and you know who I'm talking about, are responsible for the impending extinction of the manual transmission. It's just too bad that you're also a menace to society thanks to your right hand clutching an iPhone as opposed to a gear shifter. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, if you like that video, please click like and subscribe and never miss another Rebel video.